Welcome back, guys. After those registers, we need to talk about types. But this is not a very complicated topic. We just have to memorize or mesmerize this list. What list? This one over here. I also attached this in the cheat sheet. And these are the types we have in our Smali code. So we have seen this strange I letters in our source code. And this I means we've got an integer value. V means void. Set is Boolean. And beside all these basic types, we've also got two a little bit strange looking types. The first one is regarding to the class name, and this one starts with a capital L. We have seen this a lot in the past, and we will also take a look onto this later on when we go through the SpacePing application and make ourselves a little bit more familiar with the Smali. So classes start with this capital L letter. Alright? The other type starts with this square bracket, and then we have this descriptor which describes what type this array is of. So in this case, if we've got a square bracket and then in capital B, we've got a byte array, and we can have all types of arrays. All right? Okay, so keep this list close to you when you start reverse engineering Smali code, because this comes super handy. You will understand a lot of more of this code by having this list, those types definition over there. Let's do this for our application code we've analyzed before. So by having this list compared to us, we can now also determine those types. We've got, for example, add some power, and then we've got 3 times this capital I, which means we've got 3 parameters from the type integer. And after those brackets, we've got another I in green, and this one is the return value. So now we know 3 integer values are going to be passed into our function, and this function is also returning an integer value back. Alright, we can also see those capital I's after those parameters. And yeah, at the sum and factor we also got this type definition, but that's all. In this function there are only integers available. Alrighty, here we are now at our Ubuntu VM, and let's do some practicing within our SpacePing application. And therefore we go into our apps directory, SpacePing decompiled, because this has been decompiled with the APK tool. And here we've got our Smali directory. I opening Visual Studio Code, and then I drag this whole directory into this editor. Yes, it's working. Alrighty. I go back and we open this application also with JDX GUI to have the Java source code next to us. Let's find some types within our Smali code. We start with the Smali code and then we check if our assumption is correct or not. So I opening this one, let's see what we've got here. This components, maybe this one is good enough, let's see. Circle bounds, yes. So I'm also opening or changing the syntax to Java, get out my graphic tablet, and now let's do some practical analysis. Okay, this one over here, I guess it's not that hard. We've got an instance field. This means this is a class field, but we do not know about this right now. What we are interested in is this f over here. And this colon and this f means we've got a variable from the type float. Correct. So here we have a class name. We can find this over here. The circle bounds. And this class name got some type radius, and this type is float. A variable named radius, and the type is float this way. All right, let's have a look into our Java code. So yeah, we can keep this over here, I guess. it's fair enough to see if we were correct. So we were in components, collision, circle bounds. Components, collision, circle bounds. There we go. Maybe I have to clean it up. Circle bounds, float, radius. Correct. Next one. What do we have here? All right, let's see what we've got here. We've got an height and we've got a width. And both are from type f. F is correct, float. So we've got float, height, and we've got float, width. Okay, Let's check also this one out. We've gotten v over here, and this is the return value because it's after those brackets. The v as a return value is also correct. Great, it's void. So this function is returning a void, and we can also find this over here. All right, next. Oh, let's prove this first. So JDX, rectangle. Yes, float, height and width. But where's our function regarding to the void? And let's have a look back. And this one is an init, and this means this is a constructor, but this constructor is not directly written in this Java code over there. So we will learn about this later on. I just wanted to point you out that we can also get this function return value over here. All right, power up, what do we have here? Coin Smiley, let's take a look into this one. All right, we skip this for now because there's something interested in there. Let's move on the alien. Yes, let's move on with alien first. I enable Java once again. Enable my pen and let's go. So here we've got our label, and in front of this label we've got this public static final, and this is exactly the same text that's written in this class name. So just to show you this, we've got a public static final, final, and then we've got the sprite name over here. All right, but something is missing. What is missing? The type of the sprite name. Let's have a look. We've got this colon, we've got this capital L. So this is our type definition, and this type definition ends at the semicolon there. Capital L means we've got a class reference. Which class? Let's take a look. We've got Java lang string. So this one is from the type string. So we can clear this one and we can adjust string. And we can also see that this string or this variable name is going to be initialized directly afterwards over here. So this string is here, and then we've got also this one alien. And the same for this one underneath. So this one over here, we've got also sprite name boss in this case. And then we've got also this colon L, we've got our class reference, Java lang string, and also our initialization. Let's do this. So we've got a sprite name, underscore boss, and this is from the type Java lang string. So we've got a string over here, and this one is being initialized with alien boss. So this one over here. Alrighty, let's have a look. I mean, this was a little bit more than we did learn right now, but I want to provide you more and more information that we get familiar with the Smiley slowly. Okay, so let's have a look. Let me open this one and let's see. Where was it in? Components alien Smiley. Components alien Smiley, this one. All right, we can see public static final string sprite name, public static final string sprite name, alien and alien boss. Nice. I was just too lazy to write this blueprint over here, what we've got also here. Alrighty, next, let's take a look into this one. And this one is super nice, yes. Okay, here we have a lot of nice stuff. So let's have a look into this. We've got a lot of instance fields, and instance fields are just member variables of this class. We will talk about this file format more in detail in a separate section, but let me point this out real quick. We can find this class name over here. So we've got the class, and this class is named color animation. In this case, it also extends this one over here, but we do not care about this one right now. I just write extends, but we do not care. Okay, and this class has now these members. For example, alpha animate. What is this type of this alpha animate? Let's have a look. We've got this colon and afterwards we've got the set. What is the set? Correct, a boolean. So we know this one is a boolean. I guess I have to write this more clean. Boolean. Okay, next we've got alpha max. So I'm not writing this down, but here we would have this one alpha max. We've gotten colon f. We have seen this f before. F is correct, float. This one is from type float. All right. Oh, we do not have more about. We just have f and set. So these are all float, float, boolean, float, 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 boolean, float, float, and so on. Okay. So you can see it's not that hard, and we can already reconstruct some parts of the source code. Let's have a look into this, how it looks like. So we are in color animation. Color animation. Yeah, so our assumption was correct. We've got this class and extending a component, but we do not care about this part here. And then we've got all those members, and we also have seen those types over here. All right, finally, let's do some more interesting. Let's see. We go back and then this one. Yeah, this one looks good. Okay. Enable Java once again. Get out the pencil. Let's go. So here we have our instance fields, and here we have frame duration, colon, f. We know this, type float. We also know this one, type float. But what is this one over here? We've got now a label named play mode. Play mode. But what is this type of this label? Let's see. We've got a colon and an L. This means we've got a class reference. Let's see how far this class reference goes. Up to this one over here. Okay. So we've got this animation, and afterwards we've got a $sign, and then we've got this play mode. So what is this? This $sign is just a signal to us this animation has an inner class, and this inner class is named play mode. This is most of the time the case for enums, or for example if you extend async task or things like this. So if you have a class name and within this class name you have an inner class. Then these two classes get separated with this $sign. Alright, let's take this topic real quick to the slides and discuss it over here. I guess that's way more easier. So on the left we've got a public class animation, and this public class can now have an inherited class, which is play mode, or also an enum type, which is play mode. Both of them will be addressed via the main class, via the animation class, followed by a $sign and then the type. For example, the enum type or the play mode class. So let's split this up over here. We've got our main class, the animation. Then we've got a subclass, or for example an enum type, which is play mode. Now, if we want to address this play mode, we have to address the main class, which is animation, followed by a $sign, and then we go into play mode. So then we can address the play mode class or the play mode enum type. In total, it looks like this one. Animation, $play mode. So this is the magic behind this $sign. This is just the reference to an inherited class or an enum type, for example. In this case, it doesn't have to be in class. It can also be, for example, an enum type. So we have to go into the Java source code to figure this out right now. Later on, we will learn how to deal with this. So let's have a look. Whoops. Okay. Where we are? We are in animation parameters. So animation parameters. Okay. we can see animation parameters has now this class animation play mode. We can double click on this in JDX GUI and then we end up here. Alright, we've got now a class named animation, and this animation has now an enum type play mode. And this is what we've got. So we've got animation, $, and then we've got this play mode. So in our case, we are having an enum type within our class name, and those get separated in this way. In the next section, we have some kind of quiz. So I prepared some examples, and then we have to figure out what are the parameters, what are the local variables, what are the types, and what is the return value. And by training this in this kind of quiz, we are getting better and better. And this is what is also important in Smiley, that you practice this stuff. Okay, feel free to browse around in this code and exercise a little bit with the type definitions and also with this parameters local variable stuff. Do not get distracted by all the other Smiley parts, and then I see you in the next section.